So today on Morning Rock Out, we've got Dave O'Hara of Call of the Wild Festival to talk about the festival, which at the recording of this, only 3 weeks to go. How are you feeling, Dave? 3 weeks to go.
Good morning. I'm, I don't know, to be perfectly honest. Really, really busy, very tired already. Feel like we're getting pulled from pillar to post, but not quite as much as in previous years. I think the new website's working and answering a lot of the questions that people have. The WhatsApp business number that we set up has helped quite largely as well. But more than anything else, I'm just excited to see me mates back in the field, right?
Yeah, yeah, sounds good. So anybody who doesn't know about Call of the Wild Festival, tell us all about it. How did it start? I believe if I'm right, it was yours and Raz White's baby. Is that right?
Yeah, that was how it started it. Back in oh man, Raz and I were managing Knockout Kane. I was looking after a Joker's Rage at the time. We were on a tour together, started talking about bands and people and just getting ripped off, things going wrong at that time, right across the industry, especially at the grassroots level. And those conversations carried on, and essentially it was right time to put our money where our mouths are. Let's put on a show and do it right. So cracked on, did that, got turned away from the original site up in Carlisle. The police essentially just said, you can't do it. Appleby Horse Fairs at the same time. We can't cover the policing for all of it, so you're going to have to find somewhere else. We locked in on the Lincolnshire Showground, who just happened to have a cancellation that week. And we already had the Wild Hearts, Hardcore Superstar, Virgin Mary's all booked. So we went for it. And as fate would have it, it worked out really, really, really well. We have a home. We've got a deal in place with the showground for at least, for at least 10 years. So we're halfway through that already. It's rolling on. It'll just keep going and going. The event is growing nice and just exactly how we wanted it. It's nice and slow. It's organic. Yeah, I couldn't be happier, to be honest.
Mm. Yeah, as you said, it's at Lincolnshire Showground, which is just about 5 miles away from me. So that is great for me. I didn't make the first year. I knew about it, and I'm not sure why I didn't go because my brother-in-law
Oh,
and his family went, and they loved it. But I've been every year since. So 2019, am I right? Was that the first year? And it
yeah,
was a bit of a different setup at that time, wasn't it?
it was. Yeah, 2019 we had one outdoor stage. Down close to the where the toilet blocks are. It was down there. And then we had two indoor stages in that big building right behind the hard standing area by near the main arena as it is today. Didn't work very well. The outdoor stage was great, but indoors was a lot of slap back, a lot of bands complaining about just the way the sound moves in there. There was no acoustic dampening. It would have cost an awful lot of money to put it in there. And at that point, it's not something that we even had in the budget. I remember saying whenever we got the event going and people were, this seems like a big step. Are they going to be able to do it? Are they going to afford it? Is it, are they just going to run away with the money? And our Raz and I both saying, look, you guys do what you want to do. If you don't want to come, don't come. But on the Saturday night, Raz and I will be stood in front of that main stage watching the Wild Hearts, probably pissed as farts because it's the Wild Hearts on stage. Why not? And if you want to come and join us, come and join us. But if you don't, we'll be there anyway because it's all paid for. So I think year one we had something, I think it was 420 something people.
All right, yeah.
And I think it was four glamping tents. That was it. But to us, that was a success because we'd
Yeah.
never done it before. Yes, it cost us money, but it had all been paid for. All the bands got paid. Everything was done, and we had a ball. People really enjoyed it, and I think from the atmosphere that we had in year one, that family friendly, nothing's too much trouble kind of deal, to where we are today. where that's still exactly the same, and we've grown organically with that. So people go away, like your brother-in-law, they go away, they talk to you about it, they tell
Yeah,
you, and they bring their mates and their kids, and that's what makes it really, really special to us.
yeah. Yeah, it's really good, nice, friendly atmosphere. Like I said, I wasn't there first year. We'll talk about what happened the year after, but when you came back again, I was there. And although I live only a short distance away, that first year we did camp, get the whole experience, and was um, the tent was next to this family. The guy was called Tank. I can't remember what
I
his
know,
wife was
Tank,
called,
yeah.
but they had two little kids there, and they were loving it there. And I've
Yep.
seen them there every year since. So once you go, it's like it's really ingrained in you. It's like another festival that I might touch on that we both know about that is quite local. Really family atmosphere. It's great. So that was my first year, but as I said, there was a bit of a gap, weren't there? Because I think everybody can remember what happened in 2020. How much of a
Yeah.
headache was that for you, mate?
It almost finished us, to be honest. Um, I remember we had to move it. I've kind of deleted a lot of it from the memory files now because it just pissed me off a little bit too much, I
Yeah,
guess. Um, we had to move it, I think, three times, changed it to different weekends. The showground were great with us. Our customers were amazing with us because almost to a man refused the refunds and
right,
stuck
yeah,
with us. And we offered the refunds and we said, if you look, if it's there, if you want it, you can have it. Most of them said no. We'll be there when it goes. Um, we got to a point where we were about 2 weeks away from putting the event on. We had tables and spaces and areas and numbers of people in areas. We had all these sorts of things worked out. It turned out we would have had to use something like 50 waiters and things like that
mm,
to move beer for people because you weren't allowed to go to the bar yourself. All these kinds of things, and we had it, and we were going to go for it, and we were going to do it just to get it done because we had bands booked that pretty much were on the hook really for 2 years,
yeah,
right? And in the end, the local council, they shut us down. They said, "Look, no, you can't." Even though we'd gone to all these lengths and abided by all of the rules, and 10 days later, after we cancelled it, everything got lifted, and we could have gone ahead and done it anyway.
yeah. So
So
right annoying, yeah,
yeah, incredibly frustrating, financially devastating. We're just about, I think if this year goes well, we should recover from it by
brilliant,
this event. Um,
brilliant. It's nice to hear you'll be recovered, but such a long time.
yeah, it is. Well, we made the point of trying to keep our prices as close to those original costs as we could. Try not to put them up too much. We know it's tough. We know it's hard. We know people can't afford it. It's trying to provide the best value, the best bands, the best atmosphere, good food, good beer, all sorts of other little things going on for the kids and whatever else, and not have it cost the earth to be able to do it. And that's tough,
Mm,
especially when you're looking at what's now effectively a 3.5 day event,
yeah,
right? Ground costs go up every year. Moving the waste, the rubbish, the cost of fuel. We're not allowed to use red diesel in generators anymore. So that's almost three times the cost of your
yeah,
fuel. You need to
yeah. I
run.
didn't realize that because obviously
Yeah,
red diesel's a lot cheaper than regular.
yeah. Used to be allowed to run your plant on red diesel. No, you're not.
Wow.
The cost of the fencing goes through up
Mm,
everything. And if it's not the fencing that goes up, it's the cost of the delivery that goes up because the fuel costs have gone up and everybody passes those costs on. And we've tried not to. So it means minimizing our margins to get us across the line, but still be able to provide the best value we can for everybody that's stuck with us. Because they're more important than pretty much anything else, really.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to hear you working to keep it costs down because that's great for everybody. Obviously, those who are going, not so good for you. Do you think in future years you're going to have to rise the price?
Things will have to go up somewhere, whether that's the cost of the weekend ticket or the cost of the camping in the car park, something like that. Something's going to have to go up somewhere. It won't be by much, like we're not going to stick another 100 quid on it, but although I guess we probably should because it's good enough value, right?
Yeah. Oh
We
yeah.
we can't do that because that would just make it completely unaffordable to people that have stood by us from day one.
Yeah.
So we have to find that happy medium and try and offer, if the price does go up, we try and offer a little bit more to offset that. But it's a business at the end of the day. It's about good music, good food, good beer, friends, fans in a field. But we have to be, if we want to grow the event, we have to make a profit
Hmm.
because that profit is what helps us bring the bigger bands in for the following year. And people want to see the big bands at the top of the tree, but we also need to make sure that we can keep those lower level grassroots bands filtering through with that because that puts them on that big stage with those artists. And that doesn't happen often anymore.
Yeah. Would you ever consider kind of like scaling it down because it's massive? You got three stages. Would you consider scaling it down to two? So less bands, less outlay, or are you happy with how it is at the moment?
We've got, yeah, there's three stages, but it's still not that big, really. When you look at the entire showground site, we've actually got space for seven.
Oh, space wise, yeah.
Right.
Space. Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah, mate. Yeah.
this is where this is what we're thinking and developing and growing, but again, organically keeping the right people in the right places, whether that's inside of the upstaged team, the Call of the Wild Volunteers team, all of that. There's key people right the way through that. But there's also people that have come to every single event, and we need to do it in line with what they would like to see as well. Give
Hmm.
them the options. What do you reckon? Like, do we go for two bigger stages side by side with bigger bands? And then once we get to a point where the arena starts to feel just a little bit full, do we move it back a little? Do we expand a little? Do we put an extra stage or do we move the third stage somewhere else? Maybe make that fully outdoor as well.
Hmm.
The fourth stage takes over with the bar area and things like that. There's all kinds of things we could do,
Yeah.
but I don't think scaling it down is the answer. I
No.
really, I don't
No.
think scaling it up too much is the answer either. Not at this point, but the number of people attending the event is growing every year. More and more people are finding it. More and more families are starting to realize that yes, it's a rock show, but it's not, it's not download,
No.
right? The campsite's 2 minutes walk away. Your
Yeah.
glamping is 2 minutes walk away.
Yeah.
The motor homes are 2 minutes walk away. You've got proper toilets, proper showers. The food's great. The queues aren't huge. If there is a queue, except maybe for the toasty guy, because that's just
I was
phenomenal.
I was gonna ask, is the Toasty guy coming again this year? Because he was my favorite. I discovered him there, saw him at
Yeah,
Download. He was Stone Dead as well. He took all my money last year.
he is coming back. Main reason being I still haven't bloody had one.
Mate, you're missing out. You've got to
I
get there
know.
this year.
I saw him at Stone Dead as well, and I didn't get a chance there because it was too busy. So I'm going to have to try and make a point this time. But yeah, he will be there, and I think we'd have got there'd have been a mutiny if he didn't turn up. I think.
I think yeah, a real hit he is. It's great. I mean, when he was at Stone Dead, I went to him for lunch. Was going to go for him for tea. It sold out. It was
Yeah,
that busy.
yeah, kind of nuts, but really, really good, and not good for me figure either.
Well, mine neither. So that's something that's staying the same. Anything changing for 2025? Those people that have been before, will they recognize any changes?
Yeah, well, if they do, it's going to be small, little tweaks to try and improve the flow, the ergonomics of things. Um, that's really it. One of the main changes, I guess, will be, well, it's not even a change. It's a little bit of an addition, but it's just something else for people to do. We've got so many little tweaks. Some of it's actually for the comfort of the crew and the staff that are working.
Mm,
We've gone done a little bit extra to help them out, and I don't want to mention that just yet because I want that to be a surprise for them when they
all
rock
right.
up event.
Oh
Um,
well, so they know something's going to be nice for them though.
Something's improving. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We try and do something every year to improve the lot of the guys that throw themselves in at the deep end with us to help us out. And we have to repay that. Whatever way we can, we have to do something to keep repaying that. Because without the volunteers, without Kurt, our stage manager, or James, the guy at front of house, Callum, all of them, we'd be nowhere. Right? They're a massive, massive part of what Call of the Wild is.
Mm. So, you mentioned about people working there. I assumed, and you've kind of like confirmed it, bit like what I do at Stone Dead Festival or volunteer there, run by the volunteers. Is that right?
Yeah, we've got a guy called Chris Amos. He looks after and schedules the things the volunteers do. Um, we keep it quite small. I We don't need 700 or 1,000 or whatever it is you've got at Stone Dead. Um, it's nice and small, compact, easy to manage. Nobody's overworked. You know, they do a couple of shifts in the weekend and that's it. It's relatively simple. We don't have as many people going through, so quite easy to manage. And Chris does a great job of looking after all of that, making sure that gates are manned, people get car park is covered, all that kind of thing, showing
Mm,
people where, although it's not a free for all to pitch the tents, there are a few things that we need to keep an eye on. We've got somebody there just to guide people in the right direction in the campground, a couple of guys that are showing everybody where to park up for their hookups with the motorhomes, artist liaison, all the usual kind of stuff. But
mhm.
I think we keep it to about 35, I think.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody was interested in volunteering, do you still need more people? And if anybody was interested, how would they go about volunteering?
I don't think we do now, not at this point, but if you want to get involved for next year, it's just visit the website, callofthewildfestival.com, and in the information page, you'll find everything you need there that'll help and tell you all about it and who to contact or whether or not there'd be a form up. Sometimes there'll be a form closer to the event. There's usually a form up for people to fill out. Other than that, it's an email address just to register your interest, and then we'll get in touch as we move through the year towards the next event.
Hmm,
Yeah.
lovely. So we've talked about how you're going to get to see the Toasty guy this year. What else are you looking forward to Call of the Wild 2025? Who you interested in seeing? What you looking forward to?
So many bands, man. Robert Public is going to be a bit special, I think. Just knowing what they can do and having seen a few of their, I've never seen them live. I've watched a few on YouTube now, their performance from Bloodstock and a couple of other things. But yeah, really looking forward to that. I like the Commoners because they've got that, it's something a little different, that Black Crowsy kind of feel to
Yeah.
it. they've got a lot going on, and I'm quite interested in what they're going to do with it. Michael Monroe, it's Michael Monroe.
What
It's
can you say?
White
Yeah, what
Rock,
can you say?
right? What a way to shut out and close down the event.
Mm.
Um, got Knockout Kane coming back for a one-off.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. That's going to be brilliant. I'm so excited about that.
That's going to be ace. And it's good. Like Lee is one of our directors. I'm looking forward to seeing him up there with is the band that that's how I met him.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right, all those years ago on that tour with the Joker's Rage when Raz and I started talking about doing this. And as it happens, the bass player from that band is now one of the directors of Call of the Wild
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah,
upstage.
yeah.
So that's pretty good. Thieves of Liberty are doing fairly well at the minute, going further down the running order. Their first time at the festival, but they're headlining the Trailblazer, I think, on the Friday night,
Mm.
memory serves. To Nowhere, another young band. Bass player, kid called Josh Fodden. He's from a band called Tomorrow's Lost that I used to manage.
Oh,
Uh,
right, yeah, I've heard of them, yeah.
yeah, before that all went Pete Tong. Josh has done well to recover from that. He's in a band that have an awful lot of potential. Worth going to check them out. I think that's Saturday on the Trailblazer. But this house we built, cracking live band, great bunch of guys, so much fun. Scott's a little bit bonkers. I think there's somewhere back in the day that probably have been keeping him in a very secluded building on his own. But he's outstanding, great voice. They're good musicians, a good bunch of lads. I think they're playing on the second stage on the Saturday. So there's a
Yeah,
lot
I'm,
across.
yeah, I'm making a mental note of these because this year has got to be the year of the bands that are there that I've not really seen a lot of. Other years, you've had some of my favourites like Massive Wagons and These Wicked Rivers last year, but a
Yeah.
lot of bands that I've not seen. So really looking forward to checking out some of those and some bands and getting a new experience.
Well, it's kind of what we do, right across upstage. Raz, myself, John, Lee, we work with bands, we manage bands at a lower level, prep them, help them get through the BS that's being in grassroots, right? But some of the other events that we do, like the Rockmantics out in Grimsby or up in Carlisle, they're kind of our testing ground for a lot of these bands, right? And we'll find them, we'll pick them up, they'll be recommended by people, and we'll go listen, we'll watch, and we'll see what they've got, and then we'll invite them along to those shows, meet them, see how they are, how they behave, I guess is the right word, how they work as a band professional. Are they idiots? Are they genuinely worth working with? And then those bands that impress tend to end up either straight into Call of the Wild or coming through the Trailblazer route,
Hmm.
right? Where I can't remember how many bands there was now. I was overseas for it, but maybe 15 bands over 2 days, I think. And from that, we pull out a couple of bands to play the event, but then the big one is the band that opens the festival, because
Yeah.
that's probably the hardest job of the whole damn lot,
Hmm.
is opening an event like this.
Yeah, going about just as a side from Call of the Wild, you mentioned a rockmantic there. You've got two, did you say? The one at Grimsby and the one at Carlisle. Is it
Yeah.
just those two? Did you, am I thinking right? Did there used to be more, or am I just imagining that?
We did do one down at the Waterloo in Blackpool. I think it was one, might have been two, I can't remember. And then we did like an on the road one where we went to the Empire in Rochdale as well. But at this point, predominantly it's those two.
Yeah.
Uh, the one up in Carlisle at the Brickyard is the original.
Right, yeah.
Started by Raz, I think,
Yeah.
come 13, 14 years ago now. I think it's actually where Massive Wagons got their first ever headline show,
All right, yeah,
and one of their first gigs prior to that, as Massive Wagons. But yeah, we've had all sorts of people through there, from those guys to those damn crows and Florence Black.
yeah.
Obviously Tomorrow's Lost. Tom Kilner's played it, one of John's bands. Oh man, the list is pretty much endless, really.
So I've seen those gigs advertised for next year already. So that's going to continue in future years as they bring in bands through the Rockmantic and to Call of
Yep,
the Wild.
absolutely. That and the Trailblazer thing will be still doing that, working with that. Um, we need. It's tough. It's really hard for bands because every band wants to play everything. But part of what we're trying to do at the same time as put them on a gig is offer advice,
Mm.
how to be a band, how to put a value on what you do. Don't just play the opening of a bag of crisps. Think about it. Put a value on yourself, a value on your band, a value on your brand, and work at it. Do
Mm.
something with it because there is potential there in so many bands, but a lot of it goes unrealized because they don't know how to be a band. And when you look at those that have figured it out, Wagons, Florence Black, young up and coming band that I'm working with at the minute, Prima, uh, the big one that everybody's talking about, Those Damn Crows,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Those Damn Crows were in that same position as To Nowhere, right down the bottom of the bill in 2016, 2017, right? Playing a show. That's where I first saw them. I think it was 2017. Yeah, 2017. Uh, with Kerry Davis at the Doll's House in Abertillery, playing a show there. And I was like, wow, blew my mind then.
yeah.
So,
And look at them now.
yep,
Fantastic. Number one album. God-shaped hole. Love that album. That's
yeah.
great.
But again, it all comes from the right guidance, the right advice, the will to actually push and drive hard enough to get yourself out there to do it. And it's the same with the festivals. You've got to have the inner, I don't know, inner strength, if that's the right word, but you have to be able to stand up there and say, there's a reason you need to come see this event. You need to come and attend this event. Not because it's the best there's ever been or because of anything else, but because of the family atmosphere, because kids are welcome. Kids are on the stage. We've got a band playing
Mm.
this year that I think some of the band members are like 13,
All right, yeah.
right? They're playing on the Trailblazer stage, I believe. I can't remember off the top of my head what day now. But then again, they could be on another stage and I've completely got that
It's
wrong.
gone from there.
Too many bands.
There is. There's loads.
But, so there's that. There's our security team, right? They're pretty much turning into legends at the event
Mm.
because of how they operate, how easygoing they are. They're good crack. You can stop and have a chat. The medical team is actually run by my brother.
All right, yeah.
Brings the ambulance over from Belfast every year, and good bunch. And again, will for anybody to go and have a chat about anything they want,
Yeah,
right? The stage crew, amazing. The things that I've seen them do, like that downpour and the show stop that we had last year,
yeah,
from being, what was it, 28 minutes behind to 2 minutes behind by the time the next band got going, right? Things like that. Just that teamwork and that family orientated I guess ethos is the right word behind it. And we need to try and capture that because that's what makes Call of the Wild different,
yeah.
in my
Yeah,
opinion.
talking about stage crew, Kurt, I know Kurt, top man, he'll sort everything
Legend.
out.
Yeah, I don't want to praise him too much on here because he'll ask for a pay rise or something. But yeah. Absolute superstar. Runs
It was,
those stages to the second.
yeah, definitely. If we just go back to what I was talking about, Rockmantic and bringing bands through, if there
Mhm.
is a band out there that thinks they've got the potential, they're going to be the next big thing, how do they get on the into the Rockmantic scene? Um, Website? Is there a separate Rockmantic website? I don't
No,
know.
the website there would be Upstaged.
The
Upstaged.
Upstage, that's your management company, isn't it?
No, but now again, this
Ah,
may
right,
happen. A lot of people assume that there are upstaged bands.
right.
There's not.
No,
We do manage bands individually. Like Raz he looks after She Burns Red. I'm
yeah,
looking for Prima at the moment, helping this house we built out. John's got Tom Kilner, and that's kind of that, right? But that's all as individuals, completely separate to anything that goes on with upstage. Is purely about at this point the events, the
yeah.
rock band shows,
That
and all of the wild.
that's what I actually meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll put a link to Upstage then the website in the description of this video. So if anybody's interested, they can link to that. Put all the links to everything Call of the Wild, Rockmantic. So anybody who's interested, just have a look down and click on. So
However, we
to,
are having conversations between ourselves about bringing that management aspect in-house
right,
as upstaged and working with maybe a half a dozen bands who we don't really know just yet. Obviously, the three that we work with anyway already, but we are talking about it because we do get approached a lot by different bands wanting some help and advice and whatever. So if we can, we will. I think that's another
brilliant,
part of what we do. If we can help, that's we will help.
brilliant, brilliant. So anybody out there who needs a hand, see Upstaged.
Yeah.
So back to Call of the Wild. Um, Tickets, still tickets left, not sold out. I've not seen a sign that you've sold out.
We see we this is a tough one as well because we could self cap at say 2,000 and that consider that a sellout, right? But you've seen the arena
Yeah,
that we have there, and all we have to do is move the stages 10 foot backwards and open the fence a little bit, and all of a sudden you've got 5,000 in there, right? But we don't want to go again. It's about the speed of the growth
right, yeah,
because very quickly we'll get to a tipping point where it starts to become difficult to manage. So we're looking better than we did last year.
good.
Um, Sold out, no, because I think we have, unless we decide, say we turn it right at 2,000, we call that a sellout. But to me, that just feels a little bit false.
Right, yeah,
Great to see it. It would, oh shit, Call of the Wild sold out.
yeah,
But by a simple matter of citing something 10 meters back, all of a sudden you're not. So I'd like to get us to a point where we've got maybe four or 5,000 people coming, then genuinely say, for this space, we are sold out.
yeah,
So we leave it open, we leave it kind of flexible. The VIP numbers, yes, we limit them,
yeah.
restrict them, and that genuinely sold out.
Mm-hmm.
We have had some resales come up because people have other things and whatever life. So they went back on sale and they pretty much went right away. But genuine full weekend and day tickets, yes, they're still available.
Cool. So still available as of 3 weeks before the event. If you've not experienced Call of the Wild, for me, being there, it's great. Get some tickets. So moving on from this year, what are your plans for? We kind of like touched on it, but plans for next year and the year beyond. Anything specific rather than, as you mentioned, just trying to grow it sort of organically?
Not specific and not that I can say much about at this point. Um, More will become clear during the event itself this year. But if I say anything about it now,
You'll get shot.
I'd probably get my wrist slapped a little bit.
Fair enough.
There are
Very
plans, there are things happening, there's always things moving, but we are genuinely in a good place.
good. I'm pleased to hear that. So at least, you got a little bit of a tease there that there is something coming, which I like. I've just thought, have I dreamt this? But did I see a message that there's going to be a surprise set by somebody? Am I right?
There is, yes.
You're not going to say who, are you?
No, 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 no. And believe me, I've had people try. Dave Ford from Rock Radio UK has been messaging me every 30 seconds for about 3 weeks. Is it this band? Is it this band? Yeah, I think there's only maybe three bands left, and one of them is the band that this happens to be.
hmm
Um,
I I've got a thought. I'm not going to say, but I've got a thought who it might be. But anyway, I don't want to know. Anyway, I want the surprise. So that's be good. Something to look forward to. Um, you mentioned before we started recording this that it's going into sponsoring something. Tell us about that. I can see on your hat there.
yeah, so we've a big part of what we do and have always done is about helping kids, helping the youngsters, young bands, nurturing, advice, working with the media, all kinds of things. Shows, and I've always had a big connection to the paddock, be that in road racing or British superbikes. And from that, I decided I wanted to get back into the paddock and started looking around. And one of the sponsors that yeah, they came on with us last year was ABK Beer,
Mm.
who are part of the Rocket Drinks setup. Rocket are huge right across the globe, but they're really, really big in motorsport. And it turns out that one of the riders that I first met decade when he was like 4 years old is a guy called Leon Haslam, who is sponsored by Rocket. And he runs a thing called the Affinity Sports Academy. And through that has quite a large team in the British Superbike paddock called the Rocket Rookies. And the Rookies is all about the kids, finding kids that are into the motorbike racing, fast kids that want to go and ride and race, and potentially British Superbike, British champions, world champions, all kinds of things that's where they start. And I really like the idea of that. So went and met up with Leon at Cadwell Park last year and came away from it basically sponsoring one of the riders, that young lad, Greg Marshall, who happens to live over in Harrogate and actually goes to college with my daughter, which small world.
Mm.
So Greg's outstanding rider, smart kid, 17 years old, riding really, really well. But like the rest, I guess everybody at that age, they need, especially when they've got a TV camera stuffed in their face, they're never quite sure how to deal with it. And we've got the experience of that. We've worked with bands. It's the same thing, just in a different area. So we'd had discussions with Leon and the team about us upstaged, helping Greg with imagery, video. That ended up moving away from Greg and becoming the whole team, doing rider profiles, all this kind of thing, and helping them with the media side of it, media presence, how to interact, how to talk to people, just by looking into the camera or whatever it is it needs. And it seems to be going down really, really well. And for us, it's good because it opens a lot of doors for upstage to one, take people that are helping us to go. We can go for a weekend at the Superbikes, sit in the hospitality and, good food, free beer, watch a race, meet some of the superstars, meet the kids, and also opens doors for other suppliers and things like that as well. So it's something that we've invested into with a view of helping these kids grow. And because of that, Greg, for sure, Greg, and it's starting to sound like the rest of the team are going to turn up for the festival.
Oh, brilliant.
So
Excellent.
Greg's coming along with a couple of the bikes. His race leathers and his helmet and everything are all, it's branded,
Yeah.
upstaged and rocket and all that kind of thing. And it looks amazing, especially when you see it on the telly. The big
Yeah.
call of wild on his helmet, on his crash helmet.
Yeah.
But he's going to come along, meet people, talk to them about whatever they want to talk about the racing, what we do to help, how he helps us, because he's a 17-year-old kid, but he does. Right. And myself and our in-house photographer, Mark Ellis, have just been at Alton Park this weekend. Unfortunately, we had two young lads were killed in the super sport race
Really.
this weekend. Shane Richardson and Owen Jenner. Yeah, but not good. So part of what we're trying to do is just again talking to Greg and talking to those that need to talk about that process as
Yeah.
well, right? Um, yeah, really, it was great weekend to begin with, and final race of the day, a big incident, and yeah,
That's gutting, that is.
yeah, it is. But there's always got to be a positive. We have to find the positives in those sorts of things. I don't know how we do that or what that's going to be, but we have to work with the riders and the teams and find that, right?
Mm.
It's a part of what they do, so we have to work on that. But it's going to be great to see Greg in a completely different environment. It's not his kind of music. I'm having constantly having to tell him to put some rock music on his little videos because of his stories and his reels and stuff, because it's all that house and drum and bass shit,
No.
which drives me scatty. So, he promised me he's going to do one with Barbie Girl on it just to shut me up. But we'll see.
So that'll be nice to have him there because
Well,
a lot of us who are into our rock music, I'm not into bikes, but I know a lot of us are. So that'll be a nice tie-in to see him there and have a chat with him. I'll certainly try and catch up with him, learn more about the sport because, like I said, I watch a bit, but I'm not into it really at all. I know you are because someone told me before got in contact with you. You're a bit of a speed freak, aren't you?
um, I wouldn't say that. I like my motorbikes. I like my racing. I've been in the paddock since I was no height with the Ulster Grand Prix, the TT, the Northwest, all that kind of stuff. And then from that, it just naturally, once when I joined the military and moved over to the UK, it just led me into the British Superbikes paddock. So yeah, a lot of friends in there. And it's been great to catch up with a lot of people that because of my day job, I haven't really had a lot of time to go, catch up and see
Yeah,
because they're flat out all season.
yeah.
Quite literally most of them.
Mm. Well, a lot to look forward to then at Call of the Wild Festival, mate. I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, at the recording of this, 3 weeks to go. I am counting
Oh,
down the days. It's going to be great. Loads of bands to see, and if you haven't got tickets yet out there, folks, grab them because, as Dave said, there's more available. So thanks very much for talking to us, Dave, telling us all about Call of the Wild Festival and other things tied in. I will see you there in 3 weeks' time. Thanks a lot, mate.
maybe we'll get time for a beer, huh?
Oh, yes, please. That'll be great. I'll buy you one.
Yeah, that'll be good. Take care. Thanks very much for the chat.
No, no worries, Dave. Thank you very much, mate.